Hi BookTube, my name is Sarah and welcome to the Bookish Knitter. Today I am coming to you with a Harlequin anticipated reads video for books being published in September of 2022. So I know I have it on my calendar, this video is actually going to go live on the 1st of September. So as of this video being posted, all of these books that I'm going to be sharing with you in this vlog are currently available for you to purchase, whether it be at your big box store, whether it be on your e-retailer of choice, on the Harlequin website. Of course, that is always a place to go for if you are looking for books, for Harlequin books especially. So what I do in these videos, I did attempt to do this in August, but we had some technical difficulties and the video did not go up the way I wanted it to, or at all. So essentially what I do is that I pick one book for each of the imprints being published by Harlequin, including the Love Inspired. So Love Inspired and Love Inspired Suspense. And I pick my favorite book, my top book of the month. And what I've done is I've added all of them to a spinning wheel here on my tablet. And my plan is to sit down with you guys, spin the wheel, pick a book, read the book, and then I'm going to come back and in another clip talk about said book. So essentially, review it. This is just essentially a review vlog. It's just a bunch of book reviews, but it's vlog style, meaning I'm not going to sit down at the end of the month and talk about every single book that I read as I read them. As I read them, I'm going to sit down and share them with you while my thoughts are still fresh. So that's it's really the way that I like to do my book reviews, and that's what I do in my weekly vlogs as well. So these books will have not been talked about in my weekly reading vlogs. So if you did watch those videos, you will not have heard me talk about these books. This is where I'm talking about them. So that all being said, let's pick some books. So I am very, very excited. So I'm actually going to be picking two books on this first spin. I like to pick two right off the bat. This is what I attempted to do in August as well, again, in that failed video. The reason I pick two is because not only do I want to have the book that I am currently reading, but I want to have a backup book. A backup book is always a good idea, you guys. As avid readers, as we are, you never know what's going to happen. You never know if you're going to get stuck longer at a doctor's appointment or if you're going to be out and not have access to a book. You know, I like to have not only the book I'm currently reading, but whatever book I have to read next. So that's why I'm going to be spinning this twice in this clip. Also because I want to spin this wheel for you guys. So going forward, what will happen is when I finish a book, I will spin the wheel again and to get the next book essentially, and so on and so forth. So there are 11 books on this wheel. Will I get to all 11 this month? Time will tell. Time will tell, my friends. Let's see what we can do. In August, even though that vlog didn't really work out, I think I got to 5 of the books, which wasn't like, it wasn't spectacular. My ultimate goal in my head is like 6 or 7, but we shall see. But the reason I put them on the spinning wheel is so we get more of a variety. I'm not the one picking these books. I mean, I was the one who picked the books originally and put them on the spinning wheel, but it's the spinning wheel that's choosing when am I reading them. So let's go ahead and spin the wheel, and you guys can see my little Coca-Cola polar bear. Sorry for the glare. All right, spinning the wheel. Let's see what we get here. So the very first book for the month of September or August or whatever is A Pretend Match for the Viscount. Ooh, a Harlequin historical. Yay, I think this is by Laura Martin. I'll pop the cover of it right up here, but I'm almost certain it's Laura Martin, unless I'm thinking about another historical that I read recently, which is highly plausible. So anyway, so that is what we were starting off with, is a Harlequin historical. So let's go ahead and spin again for our second pick for the month. So our second pick for the month is going to be, we have Hot Shot Hero on the Edge. And this I know is a romantic suspense, and I think it's Lisa Childs. So the cover of that one will be up here. So two very different books we're starting out with. Pardon me, a historical and then a romantic suspense. I'm down for it. This is going to be fantastic. So anyway, guys, I will sit down with you again when I finish the first book, and I will talk to you then. Bye, guys. Hi, guys. Happy Friday. Today is the 5th of August, and I am here with my first review for this vlog. So the first book that I finished was A Pretend Match for the Viscount by Laura Martin. This is Harlequin Historical number 1673. It is book number 2 in the Match Made Marriages series, and I gave it 4 stars. I enjoyed this one quite a bit, you guys. So I had not read the first book going into this, but you don't have to. You know, these are kind of standalone. They just all kind of take place in the same, with the same woman is my assumption. So what the plot of the story is, it's about 4 young ladies. Eliza is our female lead in this book, and she's from the country, and she has been taken under the wing of a woman by the name of Lady Mountjoy, and she is kind of a patron, if you will, and she's taken these 4 girls from the country and brought them to London for the season to get them respectable matches, essentially. So she's a bit of a matchmaker herself. I believe the first book is where she matchmakes her son with someone else. So I think that's the first book, and I do want to go back and read it for sure. But I'm looking forward to the rest of the books for the other 3 ladies, 2 or 3 ladies that, you know, Lady Mountjoy is working with. So like I said, this is the story of Eliza, and his name is Sam, and he is a Viscount. And what happens is that at the beginning of the book, in standard Regency romance fashion, she is caught in a compromising position with Sam. Not because they were in a tryst together, but she was actually being assaulted in this ballroom, like in this room at a ball, by this other gentleman, if you will. And Sam hears this commotion, and he goes in, and he's like pulling the guy off her and like, get out, blah, blah, blah. So they're talking, and he's helping her straighten and fix herself up. And then they hear people outside the door and have to hide, because if they're caught together, so they try to hide, they can't hide, they get caught, and he agrees to pretend to be her fiance. So the story kind of goes from there, and I really, really liked it. I mean, again, it's a pretty standard storyline in terms of Regency romance, but I really like the way it was executed in this book. I really, really like the characters of Eliza and Sam, and I thought it was really sweet. They consider themselves not to be a match because she wanted more. She wanted to travel. She wanted to see the world. And Sam really actually wanted to just kind of like live in the country and run his estate and just be happy, you know. She kind of wanted more of the adventure. And, you know, they end up starting a relationship, and it was really cute, really sweet. Like I said, I loved Lady Mountjoy. She was a delight. I adored Sam and Eliza and the other 2 girls, Jane and Lucy. And then there's another lady, Mrs. Harrington. I can't remember her name, but she is one of the 4 girls, if you will, but won't give out her name. Like, they just call her Mrs. whatever her name is. And yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to the rest of the books. I don't know if it's going to be a book for all 3 of the other girls, because the one lady who won't give who won't allow them to call her by her first name. It's not like they don't know it. She just doesn't, they can't call her that. They're not friends that way. She's not the nicest person. She's very stuck up. So I'm wondering if she's going to get her own story, and if that story is going to kind of show the reason why she is the way that she is. So I am interested. But yeah, I really, really liked it, you guys. 4 stars. So I'm now moving on to Hotshot Hero on the Edge by Lisa Childs, which is a romantic suspense novel. So I will get back to you with my review for that one soon. But for now, let's spin the wheel for the book that we're going to read after that one. So like I said at the beginning of this, so we always know the next book we have to read. So let me bring that up. That spinning wheel, I should have had it up. Sorry, you guys. So let's go ahead and spin the wheel. Sorry for the glare. We have One Night with the Maverick. Ooh, special edition novel. I believe this is by Melissa Sennett. So very excited about this one. So yeah, I will report back when I have finished the romantic suspense novel, guys, and I'll talk to you then. Bye. Hi guys, happy Thursday. Today is the 11th of August, and I am here with another review. So it took me a few days to finish this one, but I finally finished reading Hotshot Hero on the Edge by Lisa Childs. This is a romantic suspense novel. It is book number 6 in the Hotshot Heroes series. I am unsure if the series is going to end, like if this is the last book. I don't think it is. Based on the ending, I think there might be more books. Now, typically, I would say you can absolutely read these books as a standalone. And I read this one without reading any of the previous books in this series. However, if you're going to read this series, you might want to read it in order, because there's a lot that's discussed, a lot of characters that you meet within this book that are in previous novels. So I am super excited to go back and read the books that come before this one. So I ended up giving this book 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it. Didn't absolutely love it. It wasn't my favorite Lisa Child, but I have to wonder if it's a situation where if I had read the series in order, like read all the books prior to this one, would I have liked it more? And I definitely think that that would probably be true. So essentially, the plot of the story is about our main character named Luke. And she puts poor Luke through the ringer. There is actually a author's note at the beginning of this book. And it's not a spoiler because, again, she talks about it right before the book even starts in the author's note, that Luke was actually going to be a throwaway character. He was going to actually be a character that at some point in the series actually ends up losing his life. Like, she was going to kill him off or something like that, I think she said. But then she decided to keep him on. So he's married to this woman named Willow, and in a previous book, whatever, they ended up splitting up. Like, it's not like the previous books followed their story. It's just he was a side character. So you were kind of, the hotshot heroes are these guys who battle wildfires, if you couldn't tell from the cover of the book. They are firefighters, essentially, like specialized firefighters. Like, firefighters are already specialized, but extra special. So anyway, she had 2 miscarriages, so trigger warning for anyone else who deals with that, and that might be a trigger to you. She's pregnant again. They did split up months earlier, but she's pregnant. And he literally just finds out at the beginning of the book. And this poor guy's put through the ringer. Like, he is in car accidents. He is almost hung. He is almost shot. He is almost, like, I'm surprised he's walked away at the end of this book. Spoiler alert, because it's a romance novel. It's a romantic suspense novel. So clearly the couple we meet at the beginning are going to end up together at the end of the book. But I'm surprised. Like, she really put him through the ringer. So, like I said, the reason this didn't get a full 4-star or 4.5-star rating for me, because I really like Lisa Child's work, is because I did feel like I was missing a few things, but that was on me and not on the author. It was a self-contained story, and it had a beginning, middle, and end, and I was able to read it. But there were a lot of other things that were happening that I missed out on from not reading the 5 previous books, and I definitely want to go and do that now. I might actually even make that a priority in September. For my September series pick is to pick this series and read my way through the first 5 books. I think that might be a really great idea. So yeah, the other thing is that I do have to admit it did get a little bit repetitive at the end, especially with the fact that he just kept getting badly hurt. Like, the brakes are cut. He, gets in a car accident, swerved off the road. Some guy tries to shoot at him. Like, it was all very action-packed, but towards the end, I was kind of like, really? Again with this? Like, haven't you learned your lesson? Not learned his lesson, but don't get in a car where you don't know, do the brakes work? That kind of a scenario. So, yeah, I did enjoy it. I do have to say that. I do recommend it. But like I said, I recommend that you read the whole series. So, the next book I plan on reading is the special edition novel, something Maverick. I can't remember the title of it. I'll pop the cover of it up here. That's going to be the book I'm going to be actually probably starting tonight. But as I'd like to do, I want to spin for the book after that so I can go ahead and start it depending on no matter what the situation is. So we've got our wheel here. I accidentally deleted the old wheel, so I had to re-input the wheel. So here we are, guys. Let's find out what the next book is going to be after the special edition novel. We have A Rancher's Reward. Jay Critch, I think, is the author. It's the Desire novel. The cover will be up here. This, I believe, is the first in a series, so I'm very excited about this one. So I'll read the special edition, then we will get to this one. But, yeah. So as soon as I'm done the special edition novel, you guys, I will sit down and chat with you again. And, yeah, talk to you then. Bye, guys. Hi, BookTube. Happy Thursday. Today is the 18th of August, and I am here with another book review for you guys. So, I've been so slow. It's the 18th, and this is the 3rd book that I finished. Now, that's not horrible. That's not absolutely horrible, pardon me, at all. But I'd really like to step up the pace. So let's see what I can do. But yesterday, I did finish reading One Night with the Maverick by by Melissa Sennett, excuse me. This is, I believe, the 3rd book in the Montana Mavericks Brothers and Broncos series. And The thing is, I got thinking about this series when I finished this one last night, that, oh, like all of these are like mini series within like the Montana Maverick series, and every year they put out another 6-book series that kind of all takes place. Right now, all the books are kind of taking place in this small town called Bronco in Texas. I think it's Montana. It would be Montana because the Montana Mavericks. Duh. Anyway, I'm like, oh, you really should read each of those 6-book series in order. Now, I jumped out of order and read this one just on its own and realized that they were mentioning characters that I have read in a previous series, in a previous 6-book series. So the thing is that, you know what? Just read these as standalones. In my opinion, just read them as standalones. If you end up reading your way through the series, it's fine, it's fun. But the thing is that each miniseries builds off another miniseries. So, like, the one character in this story, okay, let me backtrack and tell you what the story's about. So, this is the story of Felix and, is it Sherry? Oh gosh, how horrible is that? Sherry, I think. And they knew each other in high school, and she had a big crush on him, but he was dating this other girl named Victoria. And him and Victoria dated all through high school. They were high school sweethearts. They got married. They were planning a life together. They bought a home. They were very, very much in love. It was very, very sweet. And then they decided to try to start a family. So she went to the doctor to go make sure that everything, was tickety-boo and looked good and what have you. And found out at that point in time that she had, I want to say it was ovarian cancer. I know it was cancer, but I'm almost certain it was ovarian cancer. So Victoria had a very short time period left. She passed away after about a year. So it's been 3 years since Felix's wife has died. And does not want to move on. He does not want that heartbreak again of losing someone, right? So anyway, a few months before the story started, Felix's uncle Stanley, who I love, he's like one of my favorite characters in this book. He is a true character, let's put it this way. His uncle Stanley lost his wife of 60 years. She passed away, and he was living in Mexico by himself, and the family's like, why don't you come up here to Montana, live with the family, stay with us, have us around. So he moves up, and Felix actually ended up moving home. He sold the home he bought with Victoria because it was just too sad for him. Totally understandable, a lot of memories there, and moved back home again with his parents and Stanley. So the 4 of them are sharing this, like the family home, I guess, right? And I really love the aspect of the adult child coming home just because it's comforting. Like, do you know what I mean? The fact that adults can all share the same residence, and as someone who does live with her mother, me and my husband live with my mother for many different reasons, most of which are financial because of the pandemic and stuff like that. That's still ongoing, all these years later. I appreciate that is being shown as being normal. Like, that isn't like, oh, you moved home with mom and dad kind of an idea, right? So anyway, he's there. And at the beginning of the story, Felix and Stanley end up going to this bar called Doug's. And at Doug's, Stanley meets Winona. Now, Winona is a character that you have been meeting in the previous miniseries. Like, she wasn't just introduced in this miniseries. She was introduced like 2 or 3 miniseries ago. Maybe even longer than that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you're going to be meeting these characters, and you're going to be given, if the author did their job properly, you're given enough information to enjoy this story, while still kind of understanding a bit of the backstory without getting the whole backstory. So the one thing is, though, you are meeting a lot of characters because there are going to be a lot of characters because of all these different miniseries and stuff like that. So anyway, at this bar with Stanley kind of ditches him when he meets Winona. It's his great uncle. It's not his uncle. It's his great uncle. So I think the man is like 80 or something like that. So anyway, Felix ends up sitting at the bar by himself, and beside him sits Sherry. And I'm sure her name is Sherry. It's going to drive me crazy now. I'm sorry, you guys. I should have been a wee bit more prepared when I sat down here to talk with you lovely people. So anyway, she sits down beside him, and she is the local librarian, and I absolutely adore her. She's always wearing something bookish themed, like on the night that her and Felix meet, she's wearing this necklace with ceramic books on and I'm like, I immediately went on Etsy to look, yeah, it is Sherry, to look to see if I could find something similar, and I didn't. It's sitting in my cart right now, so I might have to order that soon. But anyway, she's had this crush on Felix, and she knows that he lost his wife, and So the two of them kind of start like this friendship that quickly turns into something else because they're both attracted to each other. And of course, Felix is very standoffish because, again, he does not want to move on. He just wants to stay where he is because it's safe. It's safe not loving anybody because that way you don't get hurt, right? So yeah, it was a really sweet story, but I gave this one 4.5 stars. The reason was because it didn't use the thing that always drives me crazy. You're starting to not see it as much, but when I do see it, I really want to point it out. So a lot of times, a lot of us who read romance will read stories that involved a widow or someone's divorced or whatever. And the person that they were married to before, not that they think badly of them, but this was not the person that I was meant to be with. This was not my one. That one true love thing is huge in romance. Like, it's huge. It's like, that's like what Disney builds its brand off of, is that, you're going to find your one true love. You can have more than one. And I like that romance is starting to, show that again. So it didn't downgrade at all Felix's relationship with Victoria. He loved her. And if she had been alive, they would still be together and probably have children and be happy. And that would have been his happily ever after, but it wasn't because she died, right? So he can love her. He can still love her and still hold her close to his heart as being, his first wife, and he has so much history with her, but he can still have room to love Sherry just as much. And I really, really like that. I know that sounds weird and cheesy and whatever, but really that was a big to do for me. That, there's nothing that is nails on the chalkboard to me now than, I loved my first husband, and then they meet somebody new and it's like, well, I don't think I love them that much. Clearly I did not love them as much as I loved you. That you can. There is room in your heart to love more than one person. If you have more than one child, I'm pretty sure that proves that point. But you know what I mean? Like, it might even be a different kind, but and I love that she wasn't, and I also really like that she wasn't like put up on a pedestal, Victoria, of someone who, it was very sad, very unfortunate. He talks about they talk about in the book how his parents still have their wedding photos up on the wall because, just because she died doesn't mean you erase her completely. And of course, Sherry knew who she was because they were all in high school together. And her and Victoria may have been, not friends, but they knew of each other. So, yeah, at the end of the day, you guys, I really, really like this one. And I highly recommend that you read it. I thought it was fantastic. So right now, I'm going to be starting A Rancher's Reward by J. Margot Critch, which is a Harlequin desire novel. So I'm looking forward to that one. So let me spin the wheel for the book that will come up next. So let's see what we get here, my friends. Sorry for the glare and all that good stuff. We are getting the book, Finding Her Voice. I cannot remember the author's name. I'll pop the cover up here, but this is a love inspired. This one looks really good. I'm very excited about it. So yay on this one. Yeah, so that'll be the next one. But I will be back hopefully in a few days with my review of A Rancher's Reward, and I'll talk to you guys then. Bye, guys. Hi, friends. Happy Saturday. Today is the 27th of August. It's been a while since I've sat down to talk to you guys. I finished another book, finally. So I have another one, of course, already on the list to read after this. I'm going to start it today. Part of me wants to see if I can try and fit in one more, which would put me at 6 books for this vlog. So we shall see. But anyway, this morning, I finished reading A Rancher's Reward by J. Margot Critch. This is a Harlequin desire novel, and it is The Heirs of Hardwell Ranch, book number 1. I have not seen anything about the second book yet. I don't know if the entire series is being written by this author or whether it's going to be various authors. I have a feeling it's all being written by her. Because typically if it's various authors, they usually know all the books in order. So you're already usually given that information, but we don't have that as of yet. So this is the story of Garrett and Willa. And it's a little funny. I don't know about the rest of you when you're reading a novel, but if one of the characters' names is somebody you know, sometimes it's a little odd to read. And Garrett's my husband's name. Spelt differently than it is in the book, but Garrett's my husband's name. So, or is my husband, I should just say. But anyway, we don't own a ranch that looks like that because that would be lovely. But anyway, so this is the story, like I said, of Garrett and Willa. And the two of them have known each other since they were kids. It's the best friends, little sister scenario in a way. Like, they hung out together, but then of course they, you know, like the friendship kind of like she went off and did her own thing. And he was of course still friends with her brother Dylan. I hope Dylan's going to get his own book at some point in this series. And there's some other characters that you meet throughout this book that you're kind of like, oh, I'd like to see them get their own book kind of a scenario. So anyway, Garrett works and runs at his family's ranch, and they have mega money, big money. And Willa works as a events coordinator, but she mostly does weddings, which is ironic because, and she even complains about it, because she was engaged to this guy and actually left him literally at the altar. Like literally, she walked up the aisle and went, nope, and then left. So there's been a lot of talk around town about Willa, that she was a gold digger, that she was only going to marry this guy for the money and all these. So she's kind of been dealing with a lot, and she moved out of town, and she lives a couple towns over. So this, of course, takes place in Texas. So she's been hired to do the wedding for Garrett's grandfather and new grandmother. Like, his grandmother passed many years ago, and his grandfather's remarrying and is going to retire, and the two of them are going to live in Arizona, and it's delightful and adorable. And Will is doing the wedding. So at the engagement party, the grandfather announces that, guess what? There's going to be a stipulation to taking over ownership for the ranch. And that is, as typical with these kind of books, that Garrett has to get married in order to retain ownership of the ranch. I mean, this only happens in romance novels, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if there's case law on this or not, but I'm no lawyer. So anyway, they decide, him and Willa meet back up again at the wedding. They did have a brief fling when they were teenagers, but kind of went their separate ways after that. And of course, they start a fake relationship and becomes a real relationship, and you know how these things go. And I really, really enjoyed it. It was really good. My issue is that I didn't pick it up for, like, I have been, if you've been watching my regular vlogs, you know that I haven't been reading as much lately. So I kind of fell down a YouTube rabbit hole. But when I was picking this up, I found it very engaging, highly enjoyable. I gave it 4 stars. Absolutely recommend that you pick it up. It is on the spicier side because it is a desire novel. And J. Margot Critch used to actually write for the Dare line, which was Harlequin's most explicit line, if you will, in terms of adult content. But I did not find this one really pushing any boundaries too much. It didn't read any more spicy than any other desire novel that I've ever read. And I really liked it. I thought it was really good. Highly recommend. So, like I said, I am jumping literally from one side of the coin to the other, because the next book I'm going to be reading is Finding Her Voice by Donna Garton, I believe is the author's name. I'm going to put it up here. But it is a love-inspired novel, which is a inspirational romance. So we're going from a very adult, hot and spicy fake relationship to a very sweet, inspirational romance. And I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this one. I really think the cover is gorgeous. I love her outfit. It's very fall, right? So I thought I'd spin one more time. I would like to finish this book and maybe one more book for this vlog, which would put me at 6 books. So let's see if I can do it, but I'm going to spin one more time and let's see what book we get. So I'd love 6 books for this vlog. So this is going to be A Cowboy Thanksgiving. I can't remember who this is by, but it is a heartwarming, and this one looks so cute as well. So the heartwarming books are the longest ones, like they're the thickest books. So we shall see if I can get it done. Fingers crossed I can get it done. So anyway, that's my goals. So I will check in with you guys, hopefully in the next day or so. And yeah, so there we go. Talk to you guys next time. Bye. All right, friends, so sorry, a little bit of a different angle, but it's because I'm getting that weird lighting coming in through the window. I'm going to keep this very, very quick, though, finish off this vlog. I only got 1 book done. I didn't get the 2 done that I was hoping for. I did finish Finding Her Voice by Donna Gartshore, I should say. And unfortunately, I was disappointed in this one. I only ended up giving it 3 stars. I didn't love it. I wanted to love it because it was a Canadian author, takes place in Canada, takes place in Saskatoon and Saskatchewan, or outside of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. But I just found, so the whole premise of the story was about our main character, whose name is escaping me, Bridget, and then his name is Sawyer, and he has a young daughter named Delilah, and his wife died unexpectedly. It was an aneurysm, and the daughter was actually in the room when the mother died of the aneurysm. So the daughter is dealing with a lot of you know, obviously issues stemming from the death of watching her mother die, essentially. And there was nothing that she could do about it. So anyway, Sawyer has come to this small town to work at this veterinarian practice. He's not a vet. He's kind of going through the books. He's like an accountant of some kind. And she's a receptionist, but she's going to school for some... The problem with this book was, it was very... I hate saying this because I love these books so much. The writing was not that great on this one. It felt like it was rushed through the editor, to be honest. It felt like there were big parts of this book missing. Like, okay, it just didn't make any sense. Like, I didn't understand what she did at the vet's office. Like, I know she was some sort of a receptionist, but she was going to school, but it wasn't for veterinarian medicine. It was like, I guess maybe training animals or having animals work with people, but it wasn't like guardian dogs or anything. You know what I'm talking about, right? Service dogs kind of scenario. And then him with this whole thing with his family, like, his father wanted him to come back and work for the family, but it was all very confusing, and I just felt like there was so much of this book that was missing. Like, the author in her head knew what these backstories were, but there was such a limited page count that maybe she was trying to tell too big of a story for such a... Does that make sense? The other thing is that, this was now, you guys are gonna probably roll your eyes, but this was way, way religious. So, I mean, these are the Love Inspired. These are faith-based fiction books. But this is where it stems into, and obviously I like these because I read them, so I don't have a problem with all of them. However, there are some that just go a little too far, you know, off the beaten path, if you will. Whereas every single action that the characters did had to say, well, this is what God wanted. This is what God wanted. And it shut it down. You know, I appreciate that. You know, I appreciate faith. I 100% appreciate faith as long as it's pure and it's yours and it's not hurting anybody else. So I would never fault these people if they were real. But a part of me kind of goes, really? Like, at what point, you know, like, every single thing that you're going to do, you're going to pray on it. Okay, I get it. But it got to the point, and guys, I'm not trying to be ridiculous here, but like these little things, like, should I do this? Oh, I should, you know, like, it's the relying on faith to do every single thing in your life that just is. And again, but the thing is that both of these characters were struggling with their faith. So it just seemed weird. Like I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it, guys. I didn't love this one. The more I'm talking on it now, it's almost like it'd be more of a 2-star. So unfortunately, did not love this one. I wish I did, but I didn't, alas. But anyway, it was still a good vlog, I think. It was a good month for the new releases. I got 5 books, 5 of the 11 read. I'm hoping for better next month, maybe 6 or 7. 6 or 7 is my goal. I mean, 11 is the ultimate. If I was able to read one book from each of the lines every month, that would be absolutely freaking awesome. But I don't think that's going to be the case. However, I mean, 5, 6, or 7, I'm going to call it a win. So, not a bad month. Most of the books were really enjoyable right up until the end. But anyway, guys, let me know if you're going to pick any of these up yourself. And until my next video, everybody, take care and happy reading. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.